presented by Hyundai. Marcellus Wiley, Emmanuel Acho.
The shirt got brighter. The suit got brighter, I feel like, in the last hour.
Oh, really? So now you're going to blame it on the time instead of when you had all that time pre-show, you picked that one out. I see you, big dog. All right, let's get back to our big story of the day, Dak Prescott. And the Cowboys star suffered a compound fracture and dislocation of his ankle in the third quarter Sunday. He's out for the year after having successful surgery last night. Dak was playing on the franchise tag this year after not getting a long-term deal done. Earlier today, Cowboys executive Stephen Jones said Dak's injury will, quote, absolutely not change their plans, and added he's the face of the franchise. So, Acho, Cowboys owe Dak a long-term contract?
They don't, Marcellus. And unfortunately, what I had to realize playing the sports myself is the NFL owes you nothing. 2013, I just got to Philadelphia. I'm traded there. There's a star receiver by the name of Jeremy Maclin, drafted in the first round in 2009. Mac was my locker neighbor. All that means the NFL is he's a dude right next to you in the locker room. Mac was up for a long-term deal. Right before the season, right before 2013, and they're negotiating. Well, they came to an impasse, and so it was his contract year, and he tears his ACL.
Ouch.
He was drafted in the first round. The Eagles owe Mac a long-term deal. What's he get? The next year, he gets a one-year, $3.5 million prove-it deal. And worse than that, he tore his ACL in practice on kick return. Why do I know? Because I was there. I realized at that point in time, Marcellus, the NFL doesn't owe you anything. Now, let me dismantle. Well, Acho, you heard what Stephen Jones said. Acho, you heard what Jerry Jones said. Dak is our leader. Dak is our guy. September 30th. Anthony Lynn was forced to bench Tyrod Taylor and start Justin Herbert. On September 30th, after week 2, September 20th, after week 2, Anthony Lynn said, Tyrod Taylor is our guy. Just 18 days later, he announced Justin Herbert as the starter. September 30th, just a couple days ago, Kyle Shanahan, head coach for the 49ers. You think I'm going to bench Jimmy Garoppolo? When he gets back healthy, he is our guy. Yesterday at the start of the second half, Jimmy G was on the bench, okay? Talk is cheap. I understand what Jerry is saying. I understand what Steven is saying. But please, fan, hear it from me, who's been there. Marcellus won't lie to you at least about that.
No.
Don't matter what these coaches and GMs say. But now, let me get to my own point. The fact, Marcellus, is just very simple.
Okay.
They don't owe you anything. They franchise tagged him. That was 30+ mil. You've told me, and I've read it, they offered him 5 years, 30 to 35 mil a year. I'm no math genius, but that thing breaks out to 5 years, $150 million. He said no. Plus, he said no. Cowboys, unfortunately for Dak, they don't owe him anything.
They don't owe him anything, but Dak has earned everything, and that's why Dak is still going to get paid. I do like your face right now. Your face needs to be fixed on television, damn it. All right, we're actually agreeing in a weird way, but we're going to take different routes to that agreement. The NFL stands for what?
Not for
long.
Not for
And Tom Brady, the GOAT, always talks about how he loves the NFL. What gets his juices flowing is the fact that there's no entitlement. No matter how great you were last year, has nothing to do with today's game. And no matter how great you are on play 3, play 4 don't give a damn about play 3. I love when Tom Brady went out there and articulated that. Now, let me talk about what the NFL doesn't say, but we all know because it's a primal sport, a violent sport. That in the NFL, you eat what you kill.
Absolutely.
So if somebody said you're not eating, because you ain't killing nothing. And if you are eating, guess what? You killed a whole lot of. And that's why I want to bring this story home and personalize it before I talk about Dak Prescott in full. Dak Prescott yesterday took a huge hit to the perception of who Dak Prescott will be going forward. Huge hit. Everyone had that emotional impact and that frustration of, damn, why didn't he take all that money? Why didn't he just go out there and take the long-term deal? But perception is not reality. In reality, Dak Prescott has already guaranteed himself a minimum of what Deshaun Watson just got from the Houston Texans. Deshaun Watson, really? Dak is better than Deshaun Watson? You can have that argument all day at your barbershop. I will walk by. However, by the numbers, full screen king, Dak Prescott versus Deshaun Watson. Oh, wins? Okay, I'll give you that. Let's look at passing yards. Oh, Interesting. Let's look at passer rating. Oh, interesting. Look at total touchdowns. Oh, comparable. I like him being comparable because that's the comp I need. If somebody's getting $39 million a year and I'm Dak Prescott with an injury that I will return from, as the doctors are going to say, is coming without incident. Paul George, Alex Smith, when they had their injuries, doctors would term that with incident. That means you got bacteria to deal with, you got to put the bones back together, you got the healing process. We have to see if he's going to be back to who he was. But this injury, they're like, it's kind of simple, even though it sounds complex. Dak Prescott's forecast is still to be who Dak Prescott was before. And if Dak comes back as who he was, according to Stephen Jones, Jerry Jones, and these comps, that is a $40 million man.
Here's the issue. You say Dak Prescott will come back to who he was before.
Yes.
Who he was before is still ambiguous to the kingpins, which is Jerry Jones.
Really?
Why? Before Dak got hurt, they couldn't get on the same page with the contract.
Because he wouldn't give him Deshaun money.
Exactly.
Don't offer me no 35 and I'm better than 39.
Exactly. So now that Dak has gotten hurt, that dispute is only going to fracture even more. But let me get to another point. Cowboys fans, please recognize your history. Jerry Jones's history. 2014, DeMarco Murray had the 7th most carries in NFL history in one season. 392, the 7th most carries NFL history. He broke his hand in week 15 and didn't miss any time because y'all were going to a playoff run. Of course, the Cowboys should honor that. DeMarco Murray was a 3rd-round pick for the Cowboys. He just carried the whole load, led him to the playoffs. What happened? Not only did the Cowboys and Jerry Jones let him walk, they let him walk to a division rival in the Eagles. I say that to say, Cowboys fans, please don't think that Jerry Jones knows loyalty. Jerry Jones said about Des Bryant, touchdown reception leader for the Cowboys.
Okay.
Man, not an easy decision to make. It was based upon what we believe is in the best interest of the Dallas Cowboys. That's what Jerry Jones said April 2018. The Cowboys will always do what is in the best interest of the Cowboys. For that reason, Dak is not owed a long-term contract. As curt as that sounds, as harsh as that sounds, that is the reality of the NFL. He's not owed one, nor will he get the one he desires.
But be real, big dog. Go with me on this Wileyism.
I'm rocking.
Don't take what they want you to have just because they say that's all you need. Think about that. Don't take what you don't want because they say that's all you need, bro. If I'm Dak, you offer me 35. That doesn't sound like my ceiling. That sounds like my floor. And if I'm Dak Prescott, that's why I turned down an offer like that. I can't use anybody else for comps, and I certainly understand that using a running back and using a quarterback, you can see where the issues come in terms of projection of greatness, projection of peak powers. They're different. So DeMarco Murray, we can have that conversation, and I think the Dallas Cowboys made the right choice. But at the same time, it doesn't give you a lot of...
Let me chime in. Let me chime in.
You don't respect their word as much.
Well, it's not even that. What it is the NFL is about a use them until you lose them business. You know this better than me.
Let's go.
Think about this. The Cowboys is like, man, sorry for you, Dak. Did we get all we could get out of him? We went 13-3, went 10-6. Because that's my point. With DeMarco Murray, we got our 400 touches out of him. Thanks for your services. Yeah, you broke your hand on our watch, and you didn't miss a snap. You led the league in rushing by 500 yards. You led us to the playoffs. We're cool off you. Why I bring that up and I had to chime in there is because Marcellus, I just want to make sure the viewer that y'all understand, the Cowboys don't care about Dak when it comes to making business decisions. They don't. They let Emmitt Smith walk. The statistical greatest running back of all time, statistically.
What was he eating him? I don't know.
I don't know, but he broke the record for the, he goes to the Cardinals.
Yeah, I know that. But at that point now, it's a whole different conversation.
It is.
Like Emmitt Smith then versus Dak right now.
Yes, but I say all that to say, even if they love you, they'll still lose you.
Yeah, well, they only love you based on what they have seen and what they will see.
Okay.
And DeMarco Murray shouldn't have been loved anymore. He had 1,845 yards that last year in Dallas. You know what he had the next year?
It was terrible. I was there. He was terrible.
Hey, sorry, I'm a fortune teller. I could just tell this, he ain't gonna be that good, and he never was the same. That said, let me personalize this story, because the NFL, it goes both ways. We're saying the same thing, it just depends on who you are. I had a contract year, my first contract year. Before the season, I had back surgery. They were saying 4 to 6 months, all that stuff. Same thing with Dak. I was like, I ain't wasting my contract here. I'm different than Dak because I don't have the same leverage as Dak. I still was waiting to prove it. This is my first year ever starting and my opportunity of a lifetime. I'm 25 years young, and we know when you hit your first contract year, you better put up or shut up. And in this moment, I'm sitting there, I can't walk. It's July, I can't walk. It's August. We're playing at the end of that month. I can't walk. But I'm like, gonna make my money. Point being, I went out there and got mine. And then not only did I get mine, Buffalo offered me, I was like, pennies, Dak to Jerry Jones, pennies. And then I got my money when I went to San Diego. If Dak has to use his leverage to play all the cards, which is I may have to test free agency, I may have to get a long-term deal somewhere else, so be it. But based on the words of Stephen Jones, based on the words of Jerry Jones, and based on the production of Dak Prescott, it seems
Does their word mean anything to you?
Hell yeah, because it could be no words. I've been there before. I ain't tell you about my other contract situations where they don't say anything. You know why? Because they're not going to do anything. That's the situation different. You don't have to step in it if you're Jerry Jones right now. Stephen Jones, certainly. Stephen's more calculated than Jerry. If Jerry just said this and Stephen said nothing, mum's the word, watch your back, Dak. But since Stephen went there with Jerry in a calculated measurement, they still gonna give him that same level of offer. Coming up, LeBron now has won a title for 3 different franchises. We'll tell you if this finals elevates the King's legacy. Next, speak for yourself, presented by Indeed.